Hello and welcome back, everyone. In part 1, we explored the introduction and background of Tales from Froshabag by Rohinton Mystery. In the second part, we are going to delve into the more detailed post-colonial analysis of the story under discussion, namely The Ghost of Froshabag, which examines how Mystery uses the character of Jacqueline or Jacqueline to portray the lingering effects of colonialism on religion, class, identity, and post-independent India. Through the fusion of the supernatural and the psychological, Mystery reveals the haunting presence of history within modern urban life, where faith, fear, and displacement intertwine. The analysis that follows is titled as Haunted Identities, a post-colonial study of the ghost of Froshabag. It explores the complexities of cultural hybridity, marginalization, and spiritual alienation, followed by a discussion of the major themes and literary devices that illuminate Mystery's portrayal of post-colonial existence. Let's move to the analysis. The title is going to be Haunted Identities, a post-colonial study of the ghost of Froshabag. Rohinton Mystery's story, The Ghost of Froshabag, is a part of his collection from Tales from Froshabag. It offers a rich canvas to examine the post-colonial experience in urban life. To the narrative of Jacqueline, a domestic servant whose life is marked by displacement, social marginalization, and spiritual anxiety, he captures the complex interplay of colonial legacies, cultural hybridity, and psychological displacement. The story situates the reader within Froshabag, a Parsi apartment complex in Bombay, which itself functions as a macrocosm of post-colonial urban India, a space where diverse social, religious, and cultural groups coexist under inherited colonial structures. Within this setting, Mystery explores how the past continues to haunt the present, both literally and metaphorically, reflecting the persistence of colonial influence on post-independent social life. Jacqueline's character embodies the hybrid cultural identity characteristic of post-colonial subjects. Having been converted to Christianity by missionaries in her village, she internalizes Western religious ideology while still holding on the indigenous beliefs. The narrator notes she was converted to Christianity by the father in her village and told that the Holy Ghost would always be with her. This early religious instruction situates Jacqueline within a colonial framework that reshaped indigenous identity, producing a hybrid subjectivity in which Western religious authority coexists with local superstition. The story blurs the line between the spiritual and the supernatural as her belief in the Holy Ghost becomes intertwined with her perception of a ghost haunting her apartment. When she says, "In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost, be gone." Mystery highlights the tension between colonial religious ideology and personal fear, showing that how post-colonial subjects negotiate authority, faith, and imagination in complex ways. Social and class hierarchy plays a crucial role in shaping the post-colonial experience of Jacqueline. As a domestic servant, she occupies a marginal position in Froshabag's social structure. Her experiences are dismissed and ridiculed by her employers and neighbors. The narrator recounts that they all laughed when Jacqueline spoke of the ghost in the bathroom, signaling not only a lack of empathy, but also the continuation of hierarchies reminiscent of colonial society. This laughter underscores the invisibility and voicelessness of the lower classes in urban India, revealing how colonial era hierarchies persisted into post-independence life. The ghost, in this sense, becomes symbolic of the suppressed emotions, fears, and desires of those constrained by social and economic marginalization, demonstrating Mystery's concern with both psychological and structural oppression. Firozabad itself embodies the ambivalent nature of post-colonial urban space. The Firozabad's layout, the mix of residents, and the embedded social norms all reflect colonial modernity, while simultaneously carrying the residue of indigenous cultural practices. The ghostly presence Jekhaili senses is inseparable from the spatial and cultural setting, suggesting that the post-colonial spaces themselves are haunted by history. In this way, mystery aligns with post-colonial theory in demonstrating that urban spaces are not neutral. They encode hierarchies, memories, and cultural tensions. Jekhaili's haunting is therefore both personal and structural. It is rooted in her individual fears and religious conditioning, but it also reflects the larger socio-cultural anxieties of a city negotiating its colonial past and post-colonial present. The supernatural in the story functions as a metaphor for the psychological impact of colonialism and the alienation of post-colonial subjects. Jekhaili's fear of the ghost can be interpreted as the embodiment of historical trauma, social subordination, and spiritual dislocation. Her reliance on prayer to confront the ghost in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost illustrates the internalization of colonial religious authority as a means of psychological survival. At the same time, the ghost may be understood as a manifestation of her loneliness and suppressed emotion. Removed from her village, living in a foreign urban millennia, and subjected to the indifference of her employer, she experiences profound isolation. Mystery writes, Jekhaili lay awake at night listening to the wind, the bathroom noises, to the ghost, which underscores the psychological reality of her haunting. The ghost thus illustrates on multiple levels, as a spiritual threat, as a social allegory, and as a symbolic representation of the post-colonial self-fragmentation. Jekhaili's hybrid identity, her marginalization, and her experience of the ghost together reflect the broader post-colonial theme of cultural and psychological displacement. She's caught between multiple worlds. Her rural, indigenous roots, the colonial Christian framework she has internalized, and the cosmopolitan, Parsi-dominated urban spaces of the Firozabad. This liminality creates a sense of alienation that is central to post-colonial discourse. Homi K. Bhabha's notion of the colonial subject in limbo is visible here, as Jekhaili negotiates a fragmented identity in a space shaped by both indigenous and colonial influences. The ghost, therefore, is not merely a literal entity, but a symbolic representation of the anxieties, memories, and dislocation inherent in the post-colonial life. Ultimately, the Ghost of Firozabad offers a profound exploration of post-colonial India through the lens of everyday life, spiritual belief, and urban marginality. Mystery captures the lingering effects of colonialism on religion, class, and psychological experiences, while also attending to the intimate, personal dimensions of fear, faith, and memory. The ghost serves as a central metaphor for historical and cultural haunting, demonstrating how post-colonial subjects navigate hybrid identities, social marginalization, and the psychological residue of the Jekhaili stories. Now, let's move to the themes. Number one theme is religion and superstition. Religion and superstition form the spiritual fabric of Jekhaili's world. Converted to Christianity by missionaries, she blends her old tribal beliefs with Christian ideas, showing the coexistence of fear and faith. Mystery writes, she was converted to Christianity by the father in her village and told that the Holy Ghost would always be with her. Yet, she begins to feel the ghost's presence when she prays, "In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost be gone." This blending of Christian prayer and local superstition reveals the syncretic faith of post-colonial India. The Holy Ghost becomes confused with the ghost haunting her, symbolizing how colonial religion and native spirituality overlap and sometimes conflict. Jekhaili's faith is sincere but shaped by both fear and cultural confusion. Next theme is colonial influence and cultural identity. Through the character of Jakaili, Mystery explores the lingering effects of colonial Christianity on marginalized Indians. She's a servant in a Parsi household, a community already influenced by Western modernity, while her conversion represents the reach of British missionary. Now, let's move to the third theme, which is the class and social hierarchy. Mystery often portrays the rigid social divisions within Bombay society. Jakaili, as a servant, occupies a lower social position in the Parsi apartment complex. Her employers dismiss her experience as foolishness or as madness. When she claims that a ghost visits her, the others laugh. This reaction exposes the lack of empathy toward domestic workers and their emotional lives. Her haunting becomes symbolic of the invisible sufferings and psychological burden carried by those in servitude. Mystery uses Jakaili's marginalization to critique how class differences silence and devalue the inner world of the poor. Next theme is loneliness and emotional suppression. Jakaili's haunting is also a projection of her deep loneliness and suppressed emotions. Removed from her family and village, she lives in the Bagh among people who neither respect nor understand her. The ghost she senses could be an embodiment of her emotional isolation. Jakaili lay awake at night, listening to the wind, to the bathroom noises, to the ghost. The ghostly presence fills the emptiness of her solitude. The haunting becomes a psychological escape, a way for her to give voice to fear, guilt, and longing in a world where she has no one to confide in. Next theme is the supernatural as psychological reality. In Mystery's subtle narrative, the supernatural is never confirmed nor denied. The ghost may or may not be real. What matters is how she feels. The story blurs the line between outer and inner world, suggesting that belief itself creates reality. When she finally leaves Firozabad, she tells others that she was freed from the ghost by prayer, but her eyes still reflect fear. This ending implies that the ghost is an inner haunting, born from guilt, loneliness, and cultural displacement. Mystery uses the ghost motif to show how memory, faith, and fear intertwine. The supernatural becomes a metaphor for emotional truth. Now let's move to the literary devices. Number 1 is symbolism, the symbolism of the ghost. The ghost symbolizes Jakaili's fear, loneliness, and social marginalization, reflecting the psychological and cultural pressures of the post-colonial life. Number 2, literary devices imagery. Mystery uses vivid description of Firozabad to convey both physical and emotional confinement, creating a tense and claustrophobic environment. Next is irony. The dismissal of Jakaili's fear by her employers highlights the social hierarchies and lack of understanding towards the marginalized workers. Next is foreshadowing. Subtle early cues such as unexplained noises or feelings of unease build suspense and hint at the climax of her supernatural experience. She felt a chill whenever she passed the bathroom door. Narrative perspective is another literary device, which is the third-person limited viewpoint that allows the reader to closely follow Jakaili's thoughts, fears, and beliefs, creating empathy and insight into her marginalized post-colonial position. Next is metaphor. The ghost operates as a metaphor for memory, cultural displacement, and the lingering effects of colonial influence, extending beyond literal haunting to psychological and social dimensions. Even after she left the Bagh, the memory of the ghost lingered in her mind. That is all for today. Thank you so much. I will look forward to all of you in the discussion forum to have a discussion on the ghost of Firozabad. Allah Hafiz.